I struggled with that chapter because it starts with a harrowing account, right? It starts with the murder of Mashal Khan, right? A university student who was killed by his own peers while the teachers and others stood watching on the university campus. And I found it troubling because how do people become like that, right? My job as a scholar is to try to understand that. And that even in his death, he was denied what were his, according to my understanding of Islam, what were his basic rights, and that was that the funeral prayer and burial. I mean, the clergy denied it. I mean, his family did it. So then I kind of, that chapter is kind of an exhortation to Muslim scholars and Muslim readers, especially in Pakistan, but elsewhere too, is that denial is not going to help us. There are things happening that are seriously wrong, right? That have made so many of our young people more cruel. Now, I'm not saying there is a causal connection between Islam and that kind of cruelty, but there is a causal connection between that and a simplistic understanding of the world, a binaristic understanding of the world, or relationships, gendered or others. So the reason I go to Mawdudi and Iqbal is because, one, Iqbal is mobilized by everyone for whatever cause they want, and mostly he is mobilized for conservative causes. And the kind of Iqbal that they retrieve is the Iqbal who, if we cherry-picked the things that people use, he will be the strongest spokesperson of Taliban, right? And that, I think, is not what Iqbal was. Because if you read the end of Javed Nameh, he openly talks about it's neither East nor West. But Iqbal is a colonial subject, so he posits his thoughts against the colonial system in which we exist. And my idea was that we need to read him in that context and not as transhistoric and timeless. Then Mawdudi, on the other hand, is one of the very few religious scholars who, in his works, tries to trace the fall of the Muslim empire, but also the fall of Muslim power in India. And he attributes it to, the lack of religious vigor and even lack of religious understanding. Both of these people in their work want Muslims to go and retrieve a certain idealized past, which is connected to struggle, but also a more vigorous male subjectivity. And my point is that we cannot just build a modern Muslim society wherever it exists simply by retrieving the pure. We live in modern times. Yes, modernity, when it came to our lands, it was already contaminated because of colonialism, but we need to take from modernity what is liberating, what is life-giving, and incorporate it into our way of thinking the world or living in the world. Because if we don't do that, these forces, the strong forces that somehow want Islam to be something that is enforced from above and through brute force, they will keep on winning. So that is what, and it was done with love. It wasn't a judgment. It was just an appeal to Muslim scholars and Muslim writers. And I talk about muhibba, right, which is the concept that was closest to the heart of the Prophet himself, on which Ibn Arabi has a book, right? Instead of war and this masculine way of looking at the world, to be soft, right? And to look at the world with love.